It's all over. Hello, One Piece enthusiasts. I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about One Piece chapter 1117. And it's been a long break from Oda and from me, but let's talk about One Piece. Vegapunk's message finally came to an end with the inclusion of the Will of D. This was the perfect place and the perfect time to end the message, and we knew it had to happen. And I couldn't have imagined a better time to end it or a better thing to say at the end. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. I always said it from the start that the message of Vegapunk would be the distraction that the Straw Hats need for them to escape out of Egghead Island, and in fact that is the case. Well, that was pretty obvious, and to think that the Iron Giant would literally serve his purpose here and nothing more is sort of disappointing in my eyes. I'm sure a lot of other people in the community as well has been thinking the same thing about maybe the Iron Giant could have been a little bit more important, we would have known its origins, where it was made, what was its purpose. Probably we'll never know that. There's a lot of things to cover for Oda, and I think this is one of the few minor things that have to be touched upon. But as fans, as avid fans, I would really want to know where it came from, and I really hope that we get some sort of a background information on it when we're going through the records of the Ancient Kingdom. Aside from that, of course, taking down the Iron Giant wasn't a big deal for the Five Elders because they really are the strongest in the world. The creations of Im, or maybe the powers granted by the devil itself. Aside from that, of course, let's talk about the Will of D. It's been mentioned in the story over and over again, and of course, the people that have the initials and who have researched about the Void Century already know about this, and now the world does too. Vegapunk never really intended for the world to revolt against the world government. It wasn't a message of retaliation. It was Vegapunk stating scientific facts. Yes, he did mention the war that has been waged for the last 1,000 years, about the Void Century, about Joy Boy, but it was not to revolt against the world government, but simply to state where the world came from, or where the world as it is came from. And he was talking from a purely scientific standpoint of how the Ancient Kingdom was such an advanced civilization that trampled even Vegapunk over its tech. That was its purpose. It was never to revolt, and by the end of it, coincidentally, intentionally or not, the world has now revoked its anger and its mystery against the world government. Whether it be bringing up the Will of D, talking about the Ancient Kingdom, or in fact talking about the sea levels rising and how it's not a natural cause, and how it was man-made and how it's been set up. And last but not least, talking about the ancient weapons and how the world government has a possession of it. With that being said, it has happened. The damage is done. The world government might have saved themselves from a pretty big mess. And that is to stop Vegapunk from talking about the Will of D. But other than that, they've already gotten themselves into a bigger mess by trusting Vegapunk with all the information. I think it's done enough damage for the world government to face its consequences. Other than that, we've got to see the reaction of some of the most biggest hitters in the One Piece world right now. I wanted to see the reaction of Shanks, really badly, towards some part of the message. Maybe if it did extend, maybe if it did go on for a few more minutes, we would have seen Shanks somewhere in the world reacting to it. But of course, the one mystery man, the one hidden player that couldn't be there, won't be there because that's the kind of man Shanks is. We don't know how much he knows, we don't know his reactions towards the news whatsoever, and I guess that makes perfectly sense, because Shanks probably does know everything, but chooses to act neutral regardless. With that being said, of course, let's talk about people who are surprisingly well and alive. Drake is back. Drake is back with the Marine HQ, and he is doing perfectly fine, which, in all honesty, is no surprise. We didn't see Drake in Hashinosu. We probably would have seen him sometimes, but we don't really know how he ended up, what he encountered, but I'm glad he's safe. Kobe and the others have also made it back alive. We're not sure about Garp's status whatsoever. We see Kobe mention Garp when the will of D has been mentioned, but there is no news of Garp whatsoever. We've also seen Blackbeard reacting to the will of D, and, well, nothing significant, but of course he's excited. Him being the one bearer of the initial D, and then knowing how Whitebeard said that you're not the person Roger was waiting for, of course Blackbeard would be enticed by it, and he definitely knows the importance. Other than that, we see Smoker going around the world. I see players coming together, things coming together, and last but not least, I am not surprised to see him. I know he is there somewhere, but Law is still alive and safe, Beppo is awake, and I'm sure Law will be fine. We're still unsure of Law's destination. At this point, Law is probably not heading to Egghead Island because, well, you already know by now. I think they're still stuck somewhere on an island. I'm not sure when Beppo and Law will interact with the Straw Hats, but they have to. They really do have to, and I don't think Blackbeard has the resources or the time to deal with Law at this point, because to him, he's pretty insignificant. And I'm not really sure. I'm sure Blackbeard knows that Law's a doctor, but now the reason why I want Law to meet Luffy, and of course everyone knows that, is because he's a doctor. We know Blackbeard's body is special, and if there's anyone who can talk about Blackbeard's body in detail and his weaknesses, it would be Law. I'm sure this will be Blackbeard's one of the most fatal flaw, which is letting Law live, and this will come back to bite him pretty hard. Other than that, the whole chapter revolved around the world getting reactions, and there's not much to talk about other than, of course, I want to end it with Zoro versus Zoro. Venus versus Zoro, this is something I've been waiting for a very long time, and again, this is not even a foreshadowing. And one thing that has also been confirmed is that Venus Zoro's blade is a Kotetsu, and it was also coming to be expected. Other than that, this fight has been building up for a very long time, and of course this is not going to end here. This is not the time and place, This is not the time and place for Zoro and Venus Zoro to duel it out, but it's to see how much Zoro has to reach. And I'm sure this is a foreshadowing to a future fight, which will be absolutely mind-blowing, and I would love to see it. That's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. How important was Vegapunk's message to the world? How much impact will it have? And in the bigger context of the story? And lastly, what do you think the big players of the world would be doing at this point? Because I think the conflict of Egghead Island is over. I think we don't need any more explanation as to why it has been known as such a big incident. But that's it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.